Hey everybody, welcome back to Guns and Gadgets, your source for Second Amendment news. Again, this story just won't go away. The awarding of the contract for the U.S. Army's issued sidearm, which we all know went to the SIG for their P320, it's just a live event that won't go away. In January at SHOT Show, the contract was awarded to SIG for their P320, both full size and their compact version, and they beat out Glock, who made a newer version of the 19 with full size 17 capabilities. There's another video floating above my head that I did on it about a week and a half ago. You can watch that for some more details. But more details have come out, and it's calling out the Army pretty much for the sham that they did with that. There was their own testing. The MHS system, the modular handgun system, it's laid out, and they did it for the Beretta versus the SIG 226 back in the day. They did it for the M16 program, and this has a series of steps written in black and white that they're supposed to carry out to determine what is the most dependable firearm for the military. And then in a case where you have a tie, like they did in the last program between this SIG 226 and the Beretta 92F, then it comes down to price. However, this time it's blatantly obvious that it just came down to price as the determining factor, because they didn't even finish the testing. Now, Glock has, since day one, since the contract was issued in January or awarded to SIG, Glock fought it the first time. They tried to put out an injunction. They wanted the Army to simply test the pistols. Now, I've heard that, and a few of you have as well, but some of the details have come out, and it's alarming. It should be an alarming fact, because those of you who are in the service, you're going to want the most dependable gun when you grab it. No matter what condition you're in, you're going to want to know that it's going to work. Those of you going into the service are going to want to know that the stuff that the Army issues you is going to be there when you need it. So how the program works is, a bunch of companies submit their version of the pistol for review that meets the criteria that was set forth by the Army. 9mm had to have a external safety, blah 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 blah. Okay, so it came down to, as everybody knows, the SIG 320 and the Glock 19. The Glock 19 MHS version, which had the external safety, the flared magwell, etc. Okay, so they met both of the guns that it came down to met what the Army wanted. However, how did they get there? Every single entry was supposed to go through a 12,500 round test, which would determine the finalists, and then the finalists would go through a product verification phase, which was another 22,500 round test in a multitude of different conditions, so that you would know, A, what parts would break first, or B, how it would handle extreme temperatures and climates, etc. Okay? Well, that didn't happen. Now, that's why Glock is pitching such a fit, because the test wasn't performed. They weren't comparing apples to apples. They saw, we can get this for $100 million cheaper, that's what we're grabbing. So the first version of the 320, the full size, went through the full 12,500 round preliminary test for vetting. The compact version, they only shot 500 rounds through. And they didn't use humans to shoot it. They put them in bench rest devices. So they weren't actually people firing these guns. That's concern number one. Now, the second pistol, like I said, only went through 500 rounds. It didn't go through the 12,500. So you really don't know if that pistol beat out other submissions, because it didn't go through the 12,500 round test. So with that all said and done, the two guns, the SIG 320 and the Glock 17 MHS version they made, were supposed to go through a 22,500 round beating to determine what parts would break, what part packages they would need to deliver, how it would perform in desert, how it would perform in sub-zero climate, how it would perform in jungle environment. And those tests weren't done. So there are going to be soldiers who are going to be issued these firearms, and they're not going to know if they're going to last or not break, because they haven't gone through the vetting process that or the product verification phase that the contract states they have to go through. So the Army was caught with their pants down here. They didn't do their own product testing, and that is leaving some questions unanswered. Now, another issue here came out over the last 2 days. Steyr has launched a lawsuit against SIG and others on their the trigger mechanism. It appears to be a direct copy of a patent that Steyr has, so that's going to prove costly for SIG. And are they going to have to change out all these firearms, or are they going to have to pay a royalty for every single one of them? Now, why the Army skipped out on these performance tests and strictly went with cost over performance it hasn't come out yet. I'm sure it will, but as of right now, all we know is they went with the bargain rack. Not to take anything away from SIG, the P320 is a fantastic weapon, but I have only shot a couple thousand rounds through it. I haven't put 22,005 rounds through it, so I don't know if mine will break if I put it through those extreme tests that the Army was supposed to run. And that's what you want to know, is when your equipment's going to break down, so you can have the parts, service them regularly. You know what I mean. My opinion is the U.S. Army has a responsibility to complete these tests. It's spelled out in the contract. When the makers submit their firearms for this test, the manufacturers know what's supposed to be done. They build firearms in anticipation of these tests, and those tests weren't done. So every single firearms manufacturer that submitted a proposal or a pistol for this program has a ground to stand on right now. They have a soapbox to jump on and bitch and complain. Their product wasn't tested, but it was eliminated. Now, I have both Glock and SIG. If you watch the channel, you know this. You know I prefer Glock because it's been my duty weapon for 20 years. They're both great guns. A lot of people don't like Glock because it's ugly. A lot of people don't like SIG because they're expensive, or their parts aren't made to the same tolerances depending on which one you get. And yes, that's a true fact. But each pistol has its own problems. Nothing is perfect. If we had a perfect pistol, no one would ever buy anything else. If we had a perfect rifle, no one would buy anything else. If we had perfect people, we wouldn't need guns to protect ourselves, right? Because everybody would be an angel, and that's the liberal paradise, I guess. That's the unicorns and rainbow land that we all know doesn't exist. So what are your thoughts? There are a lot of people who watch this, who are in the service, who handle firearms, who are part of testing firearms. I would like to hear everybody's opinion. What do you think the U.S. Army should do right now? They were caught. They got caught red-handed, trying to skimp out, was maybe to save a couple bucks, obviously to save $100 million. But in the long run, if they choose the pistol that wasn't going to be the best out of the two, had they done the testing, this would cost them more than that $100 million they would save just by jumping on the lowest bid right now. Again, what do you think? This story will not go away. It's now July, and it's still here, and it pokes its head up every week. Hopefully, the U.S. Army will do the right thing and just retest the guns the way they were supposed to, and let the best pistol win. Let the best pistol be issued to the best soldiers in the world. That's what they deserve, because their lives depend on it, and so does our freedom. If you like this type of information, please thumbs up this video, hit subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and get the Second Amendment news as fast as it'll come out, and you're only going to get it right here on this channel. Until we see each other again, this is Jared from Guns and Gadgets telling you to be safe, stay vigilant, carry a weapon. Take care, everybody.